Greetings, Commander. This is Commander Atlas Rand, and today we are going to be looking at some blueprints for stations. Now, a little bit of housekeeping. If you've been here before, you know probably over half of what I'm going to say here, so you can skip forward. I'm sure somebody will leave a timestamp for it as well. This is a video about X4. Most of my videos are about Elite Dangerous, so if you showed up here by mistake thinking it's an Elite Dangerous video, I invite you to stick around and learn a little bit more about X4. If you are an X4 novice, please note that I've got a couple of videos, including one that's been updated for 9.0 for 2026, on how to start in X4 with the best start. And also check out the comments there. People have other ideas as well. The one thing I'll say about starting is don't do the Terran start, because it kind of fits you into a very narrow path forward, and you're going to enjoy it more if you use one of the other starts like the one I talk about. If you are watching this video and you've been posting comments, I do read all the comments, and I don't necessarily reply to all of them, but I certainly do read all of the comments, and if you have a cool or useful suggestion, then I will definitely check it out in a future video and actually test what you're describing, and then mention it as well if it's something it's going to be useful for a lot of people. All right, so I've had a few people ask me about the builds that I'm using and wanting to see them, and I didn't even know you could export them. Honestly, guys, I've been playing this game over 2,000 hours. I've never exported any of my builds. So the first one I'm going to start with is the Megawarf. So let's go do a planned build so I can show it without any ships flying around, see what it's like. So my idea here was to really build something. And by the way, everything I build in actual game, not in a station builder game. So this was something that I built at a very late stage in one of my games. I got tired of having wharfs that all look differently. And when I say wharf, I mean not just the small and medium ship wharf, but like something that can build all the ships, all the sizes. So as you can see, it's fairly symmetric. The one thing that hasn't been finished here is a white area sensor array, which I did not have in the blueprint because I guess I already had another station that had that in that system when I built it originally, but I've now thought, you know, I'm probably going to build one of these in every game, so I really should have a white area sensor array in there as well. And I wanted to use the least amount of components here, but components from, well, not Terran ones, even though they look prettier, but I didn't want to have to use Terran parts to build them. But I am using these Argon XL housing spires, which you do have to have the DLC for timelines, and then actually finish timelines to be able to unlock. I'm pretty sure you have to finish them because you have to go into the queue space to be able to scan these things. And also have the casino, which you have to unlock as part of a mission. I usually do that in most games I play. And then this thing is not in the blueprint either. I just slapped this on here because I've been generally using the Terran foredock pier, which is the one where the ships come above. But I thought, you know, I want to try using the boron, because the boron actually is easier materials. It uses basically the argon materials, but also adding water to it. I'm going to actually try and incorporate more of the boron builds in the future, because I've kind of neglected boron. I've mostly focused on building argon or Teladi. Like all my containers are always Teladi. I like them because they have 6 connector points, 1 on top, 1 on the bottom, and then 4 all the way around. So you can connect them to everything very easily. You can build them to be tall like this, or you can build them next to each other to be wide. They're very universal, unlike most of the other containers from other species. but I do want to play a little more with boron builds because from looking at the construction materials, boron stuff actually seems to be pretty darn cheap, and the only thing you have to worry about is just doing water. Why is this not finishing? This should be finishing. So I'm just I'm missing hull parts, I guess, for this to be completed. Oh, I'm missing a builder. Well, it'd be nice if I had a builder. Well, look at that. I have a builder. I just needed to get it set up. So I will export this station, and I'll figure out a way to maybe leave links to a whole, maybe a zip file or something of a bunch of builds together. But in this video, I just wanted to show off some builds. All right, so that station, again, I just zoom in one more time. I mostly did it to build it with the least amount of materials, least amount of stuff, but still have a very massive production facility. So it doesn't produce anything, or not production, a very massive ship facility. It doesn't actually produce anything. It just builds and sells. And that's really about it. And some of you may be saying, well, what the hell do you need the housing stuff in there for if you're just building and not producing? Good point. I put it in there because it looked nice. So if you get this, feel free to rip out the housing if you don't want the housing in there. I'm probably going to take one of these and use it to build a true mega factory / ship production facility. So just expand this out and turn it into a mega factory that simply takes raw materials and then is able to build everything in one factory, which I've done in the past, but all the ones I've built before have looked very haphazard, very ugly. I've actually, like I said, build everything in game, so things tend to look like they're built in game. So this is an example of more of what I want to do, is have more of this clean kind of styling. All right, let's get out of here, and then I'll roll through what I typically build. I was building mega factories for quite a while, but I've given up on that because they take too long to build. It's literally hours and hours, if not days, from start to finish. And so what I've started doing is just creating these mini factories, and I can just drop one down pretty easily. So I don't know, maybe I'll throw one right here. And whenever you put down the factory, you're going into the build mode. The location of where the materials will be dropped off is always going to be on the bottom when you first drop it. So I don't want that in that direction. I'm going to turn it right away 90 degrees. So then it'll be on the left. So the storage for raw materials for the building of this will be on the left, which means I can have a clear shot to the right, below, and above, which is where my other factories are. And I usually just drop a 2x2 initially. 2x2x2 by the license, hit continue. And here is what I have. I have a bunch of stuff that I've built, and the stuff I want to show you is mostly under the basic category. So these are all sort of one ingredient small factory that's built inside of a 2x2x2. So we can start with basic admin. So this is if I want to drop an admin that has some ability to guard itself, I'll drop one of these. So it's an admin. It's got a basic dock. It's got a single short pier. And then it's got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defense platforms. And I'm using Argon here because generally I will start with an Argon character. So that means all this stuff is already unlocked except for the wide area sensor array and the pier, of course. And actually the discs, I guess I have to unlock manually as well. But the Argon discs are by far the most compact method of defense. They take up a very small size, basically the same size as a 1x6 basic dock. But they have 8 large turrets per side. So really, you've got 16 turrets in a very compact space. Uh, if you want to get 16 turrets in other races, it's going to be either multiples or larger size pieces than these. And so I like the compact nature of this. And of course, anytime I'm going to drop a admin, I'm going to have the white area sensor on it as well. And then lastly, this design also works very nicely with a lot of the construction missions that have you build a defensive administrative center. As long as you don't specify that it's some particular race other than Argon, then I just drop this in, and usually that takes care of the whole center. Maybe they'll have also a requirement to build some storage. So I may need to drop like a container storage for something, maybe a small one or a medium one. But this is taking care of the weapons, taking care of the admin, taking care of almost all of them require a sensor array, taking care of the dock and the pier. So just a quick, easy, nice to have, fits in a 2x2. And that's my basic admin. Then I have the basic advanced converters. So here again, fits inside of a 2x2. And you can, in fact, stack multiple layers of these the way that it's set up. So you can actually have another one here. So you could do like 8 microchip production facilities. But I usually start them with just one layer. Advanced electronics, same kind of thing, but electronics take more ingredients. So this one will produce 3 of the advanced electronics and also the ingredients that are for that. So if we go here, you can see that the final output is just one thing, but in the process, it's also going to create these. Now, the one thing I'm not really doing too much of, because these are all small, is I'm not hyper balancing these. So, like, it could be, oops, let's cancel that to get back to that. It could be that for 3 of these, I may only need 2 of these microchip factories if I run the math. And there are a couple of methods that you can use, including a tool on the web that I have a link to in the video, where you can calculate exactly what you're going to need. But you know what? When I'm building something as small as just 3 units, I'm just going to do the same number of each of these, because I'm generally going to expand this. And when it comes time to expand this, when I add another layer here or something, then I'll actually calculate, okay, well, I already have enough maybe microchip production, but I'm going to need 2 more quantum tubes, and then I'll add 3 more of these advanced electronic productions, or something like that. Basic carbide, very basic, as you can see. Basic Computronics, again, very basic. Now, what I'll often do is just build the Computronics and then manually add the these carbides on the other side, because I'll probably want to produce both of them. But I did want single production chains here. Claytronics, probably one of the more complex ones. So this will actually produce, where are they? Here's the Claytronics one. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3. It should be 3, not 4. I don't know why I have 4 here. In fact, that's a good catch. I need to delete one of these. So I'm going to delete this one and then save it. Overwrite. Yeah, so this requires more ingredients, so it's more complex, but the basic idea is still the same. I basically have a solid storage, liquid storage, and a container storage. And on this one, I actually have 2 single dock short piers. And if I expand this, it's going to be just to mirror this stuff on the other direction, which I could do just by expanding this a little bit. All right. Basic cross. Okay, so this one was an older one that I did, or I did this for a contract, I think. Don't really need it. In fact, I'm going to get rid of it. Get rid of that. Basic factory. So this is a a basic portion of a larger factory. So this does not fit in the 2x2. And this has a liquid, a solid, or liquid and 3 solids. And the way it's set up is just with everything to build hull parts here. So it's really a basic hull parts factory. But all you got to do is copy that sequence and then slap it down here and repeat it 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can multiply this. And this you can do. Well, no, you still have to expand it. I was going to say, I think you could even do this in the 2x2, but no, it's not going to let me place it. But this is really meant for expansion. If I'm doing a more complex, longer factory, then I'll start with this instead of using the basic stuff. So I really should change that from basic factory to like start of a mid factory or something. Basic field coils, same thing, very obvious. Basic graphene, basic metal. This is not metal. This is metallic micro. Oh, it is metallic micro. That's why I said metal. Okay, that makes sense. Or no, these are off now. Yeah, that okay. So that was this is going to be metal then. Yeah, there we go. That's metal. They're off because I deleted one of them. That's the issue here. So the micro lattice, that this actually pops up the ore sales. So the basic ore sales. This is my sale trade hub thing. So no production of anything, but lots, meaning 9 containers for liquid, solid, and container storage. And then 4 size 1 docks and a 8 luxury dock for the medium-sized ships to land. I guess at this point I don't really care if any small-sized ships land, so I just worry about the medium and large and extra large ships. And again, this fits inside of a 4x4, so it's a very convenient size if you just need to drop one of these. And I will usually do this anywhere where I don't have a presence. So if I go out to which one was this? This was the basic ore sale, right? Yeah. So, 2 places. One is if there's a lot of ore mining activity going on, and I just need to drop one of these to have all my miners be able to have a place to sell their ore. If the ore sales to everybody else is starting to get blocked up, then they'll start selling to this, and I can do that by adjusting the prices. Or, and we'll leave here. Or if I want to, like I have a Megawarf here, I've got some factories here, so I might drop one of those ore sales things, like right here or right here, a little further out. In fact, let's see, what is this? I don't even know. Ah, it's exactly what it is. Look at that. So this is a built one that I was able to finish, and it is meant for mining, as you can see, because most of it is solid and liquid storage with just a single container storage. So it's really meant for collecting ore from all your mining vessels. And I like to use medium and large for mining, obviously not small. So this makes total sense why I didn't bother putting a small dock on there at all. So that's an example of one that's already built that I totally forgot about because I need to populate it with a let's go by manager. And let's take this guy and we'll put him over there. And I was obviously planning to do a video on this and then forgot about it. So then I have a bunch of mining ships that are just sitting here that we might as well then mine for him. Let them go and figure out where they want to go mining. automagically, and they'll probably just go up here and into here. That's where good mining areas are from Unholy Retribution. All right, let's get back here. Go to the newly created area here and build. Where did I leave off? Basic ore sales. Basic recycle. So this does not quite fit into a 2x2, so I would need to expand it right away. But it's one that already has a triple here. But this is kind of the start. I'm going to just start doing basic recycling, and then I'm going to add the recycler for Terrans, and then ultimately also add the allographene stuff, which is both a recycler and a scrap recycler. Or sorry, a recycler and a scrap processor. So this is how my station up. If I built it here, I don't know if I did. Nope, I didn't. Okay, so that's usually the start of the station that I built here in Hatikwa, because there's going to be a lot of dead ships here, and so Hatikwa is a great place to start with a recycler station, converted into just a sales hub or a trading station, and then eventually add the wharf portion to it, so it can actually build things right there as well. Next, and build. Next, I have basic shields. So shield construction. Quite often, you start running out of shields when you've got an ore, or when you've got a wharf. I meant to say. Basic silicone, same kind of thing. And here I just left these empty because I know I'm going to be adding more things to this station, or I'm going to turn this into a very large silicon processing plant. One or the other. And then solar. Now this I wouldn't classify as basic, but again, I was just kind of got stuck in that terminology. So this is basically the top layer of something that I could expand very easily into having 2 layers just by replicating this Teladi storage container and doing the sequence on it, and then popping it right there. Now I will need more room because this is obviously wider than 2, but it's very easy to add a second floor essentially to this with the solar panels. Cancel that. Discard. No. So we'll just drop that over there. So that was basic solar, basic spotlight. So this is just a wet area sensor and a dock. And why would you ever build something like this? There's, for a few missions, there are random locations, like for getting the what's that ship called? The ship out of I'm blanking out. Let me leave here. The ship that's sitting in Avares. The I can't remember the name of that ship anymore. But anyway, so if you're looking for the specific unlocks for the shields, guns, etc., you could put a whole ton of satellites out, and that's what I've certainly done plenty of times. Or you can just pop in like 2 or 3 of these very quick to build stations and achieve the same result. And it covers obviously a way bigger area than the satellites do. What else have I got here? So that's my basic trade station. So this is, again, a small trade station that can expand to a bigger one that fits inside of a 2x2. And here you can see I've got the Terran dock. I think I will actually remove that. Remove this argon habitation. And then resave this. like so, because I don't really need the habitation. The only reason I put the habitation in there is to go up higher to build the Terran 4-pier dock up there. But I'm going to be okay with these 3 initially. And then I may just simply expand the territory and drop a normal triple dock there or something. But this at least is another one that fits within the realm of the 2x2x2 size. What do we got here? That was traded turret. Okay, turret components is next, so pretty obvious. Basic warf. So this is kind of the what I had been using previously as my starter warf. This is a warf with very few components in it, but this is when I don't have the material to build a Megawarf. Basic water, again, pretty straightforward, obvious plan there. And then I think, yeah, this is the last basic one. And then we get out of the basics and we go into some specialty ones. So here's Defense Strip 40. Okay, that's a crazy ass build that I'll probably never build again. This was inside of a Xenon sector for harvesting Xenon ships for recycling. So this basically was pointing right at the entrance from that system, and it would shoot in either direction. So it doesn't matter whether the Xenon went up, left, right, or down. There was plenty of room for these discs to kill them. And even small, fast ships, which would fly out at high speed, this is long enough that it would kill them. And then this side points towards sort of the safety of the further away from the Xenon entrance. But I don't think I'm ever going to build it just because it's a crazy expensive station. Let's see if we can see the cost factor of this. Doesn't say. Why doesn't it say? So so let me confirm. There we go. 76 million, and it does nothing but kill Xenon. So it's crazy. So we'll go ahead and not build it. So that was all basic stuff. So that's defense strip. Flat graphene superfluid antimatter water. So this was closer to a large multi-factory. It's building things that don't necessarily connect to each other. It's going to build 4 separate things rather than 4 things that all end up becoming the same. Let's see what's next here. So the basic weapon factory. Okay, flat solar. This one I still use quite often. This is just exactly what it's named, a flat solar panel production facility. I think it's 40 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Like 44? 46. 44. 44. No, where am I getting 44? 24 solar panels. Which is quite a bit, and it's flat, which means I can double up, just copy it from here, stick it up there, and you got another whole row of solar. I know it's not hyper realistic to have all the solars be right next to each other because they're kind of blocking each other, but I don't know. I don't worry about that too much. That's the flat solar. So full Claytronics, a little bigger, and this starts with raw ingredients and then builds it all the way out to Claytronics. Instead of using the little basic factories that do just one step. Full compact trade station. Okay, this one I think I already showed, yeah. So this one's just a little smaller. The other one was 9 of these. This one is just 6. Fits inside a 2x2 very easily. A larger engine part plant. And again, these are meant to be stackable one on top of the other. So this can just be replicated and added another row of these to the top or the bottom. Full field coils, beginning of one. I generally I'll just use the smaller ones for stuff like that. Oh yeah, food. So this one grows all, I believe it's all types of food. So I've got meat, spice. Oh, no, it's just meat, spice, and wheat. Yeah, so it's just for one type of food, I guess. Just the Terran one. Food ration, or not Terran, sorry. The Argon one. Yeah, I thought I also have one, maybe I didn't save it, that did all the food of every species in one. But I guess I don't have that one. Full hull. Okay. Similar to what we saw before. Trader. Okay, so that one already in a different form. Here's the Megawarf. So this is the way it's actually saved and the way that I will export it out when I put together my zip file of all this stuff. And what else we got? Mid-fact. So this is just the beginning of, so I can build this out into any kind of factory, from medium-sized factory. Mini solar, another variant of the flat solar, just slightly smaller. Mini warf. This one I think I'm going to delete because I don't use it ever. So I will delete the mini warf. And then we have solar 44. So this is a pre-built 2-layer solar that has 44 solar panels on it. The other one, I guess, had 22. This one's got 44. So for either areas that don't have a lot of sunlight, use something like this to still generate a lot of power. Because you really don't need this in the really high sunlight areas. And then the solar 9x9 box. So this is not a solar 9x9 box. This is, I wonder what this is, because this slipped off because we deleted one. That's right. So let me cancel this. Yes. And then go here. Nope. This is a, I think this is a sales. Yeah. I can't see the name because of the bug in the game, but that menu doesn't refresh if you delete something until you close out this window and come back in. But this is basically using an all-Terran sales or trade station. And it looks nice, but unless you're playing Terran, you're probably not going to learn all these things and then use up the materials that are more expensive. So I'm very unlikely to build this in any of my games unless I'm specifically playing as a Terran. All right, and then, so this is the solar box. So this is kind of a dual-use station that I put together. As a combo station, it's really something meant to achieve two tasks. One is putting this in front of a gate that leads to enemy space, whether it's Xenon or just another enemy in the game. And then the second one is it happens to be a system with a high sun percentage. So it really, I have just a separate box by itself. If we go to right over here. So this is the version of it without the solar panels, essentially. This one's slightly bigger, I think. That's the same idea. You put this in front of an entrance, in front of a gate, and it's clear on the middle, so any ships can fly out at full speed. They don't have to slow down or stop or anything like that. But if it's an enemy ship, they're going to be inside this box. And it's really, think of it as a kill box, I guess, because they're going to be first shot with laser to slow them down. and then they're going to be shot with, well, by default, I think these are, yeah, let me just look in here. So what do we got? We got beams. Yep, we got that for lasers. And then we have plasma. And then we have flak. And, well, I guess just flak. So by default, beams and plasma. So the beams will shoot them immediately and track them and slow them down. The plasma is what will destroy the larger ships. The beams by themselves will actually destroy the smaller ships. And I actually, at this point, I don't think I would use plasma on there. And another thing that I've done is use tracking missiles. So change one of the small ones to tracking missiles, and then do the interceptor missiles, which fly at like 4,500 meters per second. Just crazy high speed, so that they, when they hit a ship, they do minimal damage, but they do slow them down, or to normal speed, which makes it a lot easier and faster for the other guns to shoot them. I've tried doing meson streams as well. You can't just do meson in case you have a lot of ships coming out all at once, like a whole fleet coming out, because the meson has a very long cooldown cycle of over 10 seconds. Whereas the normal laser is not nearly as powerful, but it is it doesn't have to cool down the same way. So the beam, you can see here, has an average, I guess I have to hover over it, average damage of 72. The meson beam, which is a lot more immediate damage and goes for longer distance, but it's barely more in terms of average damage. It's at 81. So you could put some of these in there, but you don't want to have only meson beams in there. Tried it, did not work well. Let's see if any of the rest of these. Nope. Yeah, not really. It still basically comes down to plasma and lasers for the most part, because the distance that most of the other ones reach is just not sufficiently high enough, because these aren't on the ship. They can't get any closer, so you're kind of relying on the enemy. So it has to be longer distance, and that's where things like tracking missile turrets are really good, because the length on the missile is quite good. Plasma is pretty good in terms of how far out it goes. In fact, I think if we do this plasma, I guess they're all the same now. I thought the plasmas were long. Oh, I'm looking at the mediums. If I look at the large and then I look at the plasma, plasma shard. Yeah, plasma shard is another thing. It's more damage than a plasma. It's 4,500 or 855 average, whereas the plasma by itself is 687 average. So quite a bit worse. Although I think this plasma is 7279. Yeah, this is a slightly longer range plasma, which is nice to have that longer range. Just in case you're hitting a slow moving target at a long range out, it'll get the plasma to start shooting sooner. These other ones, like boson lance, I haven't bothered putting in. They cost a lot. They tend to rotate slower. They have a slow rate of fire. And the problem with slow rate of fire is, while your average damage might be decent, you're generally on the ship only calculating that average damage to see how much damage you're going to do to one ship at a time. Since these are non-moving, they're stationary, quite often by the time they start shooting, when I need to defend an installation, there's a fleet that comes in. So there's a lot of ships getting shot at. And if you have stuff like this that only shoots once every 10 seconds, a fleet basically will annihilate you, because you just will not shoot fast enough. Even if individual shots are high damage, you just won't target enough ships in a short enough period of time. All right, let's get back out of here. So, cancel it. Oh, there we go. So this design just, you know, provides a path in and out defensive structure. Similar concept, but for a little bit more more damage. So I've got 3s here instead of 2s. So that's the gate versus the box. 8x hole. I think it's just a larger factory, so I need to rename that one. And then 9x2. So this is a gate that fits inside of a 2x2 space. So if you want to build like a cheap version of that box, you could use this 2x2 right in front of a gate. Just know that there's going to be space all the way around here that is outside, and that there's a little more chance that a ship might actually hit one of these discs and ram into it instead of flying right through the middle here, because you're leaving a smaller size gap. But this will work just as well, and it's about the same number of defensive platforms, because remember, each one has 16 guns on it. So this is a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 18 by 16, whatever that is. It's a lot of guns. So it's like 200 some guns. Or even 300 some guns. So, but it's a little more of a quick and dirty kind of setup. If you don't have room, because there are other things that you don't own that are next to here, that you can't build something larger, so you have to build something small. And then, oh, here's my Avares setup. So this is my somewhat kludgy setup for what I would build in Avares, which is 3 solar panels with room to grow, and then scrap recyclers and scrap processors. So there's 4 of each. And then I have 3 of the Protection shield generators, not because you actually get any more out of having more than one, but because I wanted to do, I wanted to have more cargo, more capacity to store Protection. So generally, depending on which way you do that mission, either you'll get a whole separate storage container for them, which then you don't need to do this. But if you end up not killing the guys and stealing the ship, then the only way you can expand your storage space is by having multiple shield generators, which is somewhat annoying, but it's usually 2 is usually enough. I've built sometimes with 3, but I think that's overkill. And that is it. I think this is where we started. So that is all of the pre-made plans that I've built. I'm not exported anything until now. I'm going to do an export and then zip them. And I've never imported anything, so this is all stuff that I created on my own. And if any of this is useful to you, I will have a link to the zip file somewhere. I assume they're really small size. I think they're just XML files, but I guess I'll find out once I start exporting them. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. And if you have other ideas or suggestions, or you've got a much better version that achieves the same thing I'm doing, by all means, reply with a link to where I can pull down one of yours and take a look at it. We'll catch you on the next one.